Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Early Childhood Education, Laying the Foundation. I am joined today by Judy and Emmy, and they're going to talk all in detail about why it's important and a little bit about Sonlight's programs. So I'd like them to introduce themselves. Welcome, Judy.
Hey, Steph. Good to be with you today. So, I am a retired homeschooling mom of three amazing kids, and we've also started a second generation of Sunlighters in our family. I also work as Sunlight's marketing sales manager.
Welcome. And hi, Emmy. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Emmy. I'm a mom of three girls. They are 19, 16, and 12. My oldest just finished her first year of college and had a great first year, in spite of it being a crazy year. I've been married to my wonderful husband for 23 years and have a Montessori background, went to UCLA, went to Fuller Seminary, and then worked as a Montessori teacher for 7 years.
Perfect. And Emmy did have a huge hand in our update of our recent preschool program. So she's going to be able to talk about those details here in a little bit. So thank you both for joining. I'm Stephanie Rose. I'm the community manager. And like I said, we're going to be talking all about early childhood education. So let's get started. Um, First, let's talk a little bit about how early childhood education lays the foundation for later academics. Can we talk about the details around that and maybe why it's important?
Um, Judy, I'll start. I was going to say, for just in general, when they're at this age of about 3 to 4, which is what this package, the preschool package, is geared towards, and the pre-K is 4 to 5. You really just want to set them up for success. I think the goal for every parent and anybody who is teaching this age range, um, you really want your goal to be to set them up for success, to prepare an environment for them and the materials that they need and the tools that they need in order to succeed in life in general, but also in their skills for pre-reading, pre-writing, and math in particular. But I think this applies to every area. This can apply to their social skills, their understanding of who God is, their ability to relate to others well, to communicate, listening skills. I mean, all of those things, they really do learn it at home first. And so we want to create that environment for them in this early stage.
And there are skills that kids truly need before they start those formal academics, like you mentioned. And so kids don't come already knowing that when you read from left to right, for example. And so some of the activities that are built into our packages are designed to help them learn that skill, moving their eyes from left to right. Um, Kids don't know naturally, they don't come wired with the ability to write with a pencil or a crayon, to follow a line or to shape letters or numbers. And so a lot of those skills are also built into our early education packages. So, yeah, just a lot of things having to do with fine motor skills in writing and reading and math. As Emmy said, it really helps to set students up for success if they can lay the foundation of those skills first.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit. We focus a lot on academics in this first question, but there's also another component that goes along with this, and it's play or hands-on. So let's talk a little bit about, what the value of that is and how that really does help in these early years.
I remember when I started homeschooling our oldest, thinking, oh, she's the smartest kid on the planet. She started reading at the age of 4, and so let's get those math workbooks out and let's get those handwriting workbooks out, and let's just see how far she can go, and just encouraging her. And I was just thrilled that she so enjoyed learning. But the part that I missed is at that age, kids really are wired to play. Um, And that's where they learn many of those foundational skills that we just discussed a minute ago, especially those social skills. And so I think all first time parents are that way. I think all first time parents want to see how smart their kid is and how quickly they can learn. And sometimes we just need to step out of the way and let them play and let them learn the things that they need to learn before they start that formal academics. And actually, we thought that was so important that you can find another video that we've done titled "Let Them Play" that talks about this issue specifically. So yeah, it's a big deal.
I was going to just also say that definitely play is hugely important at this age, but also in the classroom setting or in a teaching environment when you're doing the preschool or pre-K program, you definitely want to give them the freedom to move. I think that that's one of the things that I loved about Montessori was that you had the freedom to move. The kids were not stuck to a desk and a chair. Um, they could even choose the spot on the carpet that they wanted to sit on, and they could move about the classroom freely, which coalesces very well in principle with homeschooling because it's the same thing. Where when you're homeschooling, you're letting your kids choose the place that they want to sit at. They can sit in their room, they can go to the kitchen, they can sit at the couch with you, outside on the swing or wherever. Um, and they just have that freedom of movement and the ability to choose where they want to learn and in some cases how they want to go about learning, within limits. Of course, you're providing the structure for that and giving them the freedom to choose how long and where they want to do that work. um, and I think a really important part of that is the value of repetition, just giving them the time frame to be able to use something again and again and again, and not feel like they have to just check off the block and get it done the first time, but know that they can make mistakes and fail and still learn and grow just by that continual opportunity to repeat something, over and over again as long as they need to.
So I think one of the things that's important is the other thing about being a first time parent is, it's a whole lot cleaner to put a workbook in front of a child than it is Play-Doh or buckets of water or a big box full of sand or all the things that kids love to play with. And I think we have to realize that that has a great deal of value as well. And all too soon, they will grow out of the Play-Doh and the sand and the water stage, but you got to let them play with those things.
For sure, for sure. So we talked a little bit about the that we have a brand new preschool program, and Emmy, you had a big part in that. Maybe we could discuss the components of the preschool
Yeah.
package.
So the preschool package will basically have the same material that it had before in terms of the books. I think that there were a few book changes, but the bulk of it is basically the same. It's going to still have the wonderful preschool literature that it had before. The Family Time Bible remains in this program, which is a wonderful resource. We've added discussion questions and answers to go with each Bible story, as well as a prayer that kind of ties the lesson in for each day that that's scheduled, um, which is basically every day for the 3-day schedule. And then there's just a variety of books. Some of them have almost no words, like the Noah's Ark book. It's mostly just illustrations and it's wonderful. It's just a great way to talk about, to promote conversation about what's going on and let the child take it in visually, the story as you're going through that book. Um, at the same time, you have other books that are full of great stories with lots of words on each page, like the HarperCollins Treasury of Picture Book Classics, for example, that has like Goodnight Moon, and it has, Harold and the Purple Crayon, and all of those wonderful classics that we all know and love. And so they're getting 12 of those in one book, for example, as well as a slew of other books that are included in that package. Um, But what we've done to update the program is that we have added pre-reading, pre-writing, and early math, and we've added a science book that is scheduled throughout the school year. The Spanish book is also scheduled throughout, and you have 2 weeks to finish each lesson, so you get plenty of time to practice the words. There's an audio file that is available under the Preschool Package page on the website, so you can actually hear the words being pronounced correctly. And then there's a music component where we give you the link to different songs that can be sung throughout the school year or listened to throughout the school year. Um, and then in addition, we have the supplies kit. The supplies kit will include all of the hands-on materials that we've added, including the 10 plastic geometric insets, where the children will be tracing the shapes and developing their fine motor coordination. It's also fun for them because they're, creating designs and coloring and it just feeling confident and successful with each time that they do it because they get better and better at it, and then their designs get better and better as well. Um, then you have your pencils, your sensory numbers from 1 to 10 as well as 0. You have sensory lowercase print letters that are included with textured surface for the 26 letters. Um, we also have counting cards from 1 to 10. These have the dots to represent the quantities of the numerals on those cards. And then we have the markers or the counters that go with that. And I should just mention that those are laid side by side in pairs to show odds and evens as you go along as well. There's a nylon knife for cutting fruits and vegetables throughout the school year, just to develop a lot more of that independence, that sense of responsibility, the feeling that they can contribute to the family meals. They can make their own snacks. They can, just help out as an individual, and feel like they're actually contributing and feeling successful. Um, and I think there's also colored pencils, did I mention that, and a clipboard to hold your geometric insets over paper so that it doesn't move when you're tracing. And then safety scissors for all the cutting works that are included in there as well. It is a 3-day-a-week program for 30 weeks. So it's you have a lot more flexibility with this program. You can use it whatever way you want to. And really, I think the emphasis is one of the challenges in creating a program like this is trying to convey to parents that they have so much flexibility with it. Because I think a lot of times parents feel like, oh, I have a schedule, now I have to follow it. And then they feel like if they don't, they failed, or they feel like they're, not doing something right. And really the schedule is just there to, much like the rest of Sonlight schedules, really there to just give you the tools that you need and for your child to use, but to do that really at your discretion and to go at the pace that your child needs to go at, rather than feeling like you have to get such and such done on a certain day. If a child is stuck on a certain letter, then stay there until they feel like they're, capable of doing that and ready to move on, for example. So really take it. My encouragement to parents and moms out there, or whoever's homeschooling with this program, that you really pay attention to your child's pace and that you go at your child's pace, and the schedule, just use it as a guide for you to follow. But especially at this age range, you really do need to pay attention to your child's pace.
And that is for 3 and 4 year olds. And so let's talk a little bit about the pre-K program for 4 and 5 year olds and the components that are in that.
So it's in a lot of ways similar to our preschool program, only we've just taken it up a notch, taken it up a step. Again, the primary focus is working on those early academic skills, laying that foundation. And so we're also introducing students to different subjects. So you'll find books in the package about science. And so they begin to learn a little bit about what science is and the different aspects of science study. Um, there'll be some books about history. A lot of times you don't think about the fact that your children need to grasp the concept of a long time ago before they can actually start a formal study of history, different time periods in history. And so there are some books that help introduce them to the fact that, you know what, the world didn't begin the day you were born. Even though some kids are wired to think that, it's helpful that they can get that concept really down. Um, and then there is a set of early learner workbooks. And those workbooks are also designed. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Amy. Those workbooks, it's a series of 4, as you can see. And the exercises in those workbooks helped to develop some of those early academic skills that we talked about earlier. So there are exercises that help children track with their eyes from left to right. There are exercises that help children follow a line with a pencil. There are exercises where they look at objects on a page and they need to decide which one doesn't go with all the rest of these, or they have to match objects that are the same, or decide which ones are different, all of which are early math skills, early handwriting skills. And so it's just a great way to make sure that your child has a solid foundation. So once again, as Emmy mentioned earlier, they're successful when they step into their first full formal year of academics.
Yeah, I think Judy, you covered it. The only thing I might mention in addition is just that I noticed that there was a chart in the back of these books where you can do sort of like a checklist for different skill sets, so auditory, visual, motor, comprehension skills, etc. And you can record some of those skills that Judy was mentioning, like the hand-eye and the left to right and the visual spatial skills and things like that. So um, I think these books are really, really great, a great addition to the pre-K program. Uh, Not addition, but component of the pre-K program. I was going to say there's also, for those that are using the pre-K program for an older child, like a 5-year-old who might be a little bit old, like an older 5-year-old, that you could turn it into almost like a kindergarten level program by adding the kindergarten readers and kindergarten language arts program. And if you wanted to add handwriting or anything else, you could add that to the pre-K program as well.
I appreciate you all joining for this conversation. I appreciate your insight into Sonlight's early childhood education programs, and I cannot wait to hear what everyone listening thinks of these programs. So thank you so much for joining.